In the farthest reaches of ancient memory, long before the rise of Greece or Rome, there existed a world shaped by shadows, conquerors, and forgotten gods, a world where scattered tribes became nations, and a single ruler could bend the course of history. Today, we open a chronicle older than any empire we know. A chronicle that speaks of the first kings. Nimrod, the hunter who united the earth. Ninus, the warrior who built cities vast enough to swallow armies. And Semiramis, the queen whose ambition carved wonders out of dust and stone. These are the founders of Nineveh, the makers of Babylon, and the architects of the very idea of empire. Their story has survived in fragments, whispered through ancient Greek historians, preserved in scripture, and buried beneath the ruins of time. And now, for the first time, we gather those fragments to reveal the rise of the earliest civilizations of humanity. This is not legend. This is not myth. This is the oldest memory of empire on earth.
Chapter 1. The Origins and the Problem of Antiquity. In the disputes of the Academy and among grammarians, some of the earliest writers of foreign lands and others of later centuries write on this subject. Tertullian also refers to this in the edition revised by Minucius. I am convinced that anyone who reads all this carefully may bring the truth closer to probability. And it seems that one cannot easily dismiss the fact that the kingdom of Assyria has the same antiquity as Babylon, since Babylon was the first. Now the divine scripture teaches us that the city was founded by Nimrod, who was a violent man, a man of great acquisition, who appears by all accounts to have been the first and most ancient of all who sought the title of great name. The Babylonians, as Callisthenes, the philosopher of Alexander's court, wrote in the Alexandrian histories, showed to King Seleucus when he came among them, records of their antiquity amounting to 1903 years. This origin must be placed at the year 1771 from the creation of the world, that is, 115 years after the flood. Such testimony agrees with the time when we believe that Nimrod founded the Samalia. And the divine scripture connects Nimrod with the land of Shinar, the place of the early settlements of men. It also speaks of the dispersion, the confusion of tongues, and the scattering of nations that followed. The posterity of Shem filled the eastern lands, and from them came the people who established the regions of the Assyrians. Some say that Assyria was named after Ashur, the son of Shem. Others say after Nimrod, who, having subdued the lands of the east, laid the foundations of the kingdom. What is certain is that both names appear in the ancient scripture. But I incline to the opinion that Nimrod was first, because he built cities and exercised dominion before Ashur. Thus the early kingdom took shape. Nimrod, having become great, continued to rule the nations. From him came the early kings and the great population that filled the region. It is from this stock that the later Assyrians arose, those who were called mighty in war and numerous in cities. Chapter 2. The Appearance of Ninus and the First Expansion. After Nimrod, there appeared another man, Ninus, whom many writers consider the first true founder of the Assyrian monarchy. He surpassed all others in courage and in the desire for glory. He allied himself with the Arabs, who furnished him with a mighty cavalry. Strengthened by this alliance, he began to conquer great nations. Within 100 years, he subdued an enormous extent of territory, from Egypt to India, and even to Bactria, which had scarcely ever been conquered by anyone. Wishing to leave an eternal memory of his power, he resolved to build a great city, one worthy of the extent of his empire and the majesty of his reign. Thus he conceived the idea of Nineveh. He laid the city upon the banks of the Tigris. Diodorus says it extended along the river and encompassed many places. He desired to complete the example begun by his predecessor. Nineveh, according to Diodorus, had a circuit of 480 stadia, corresponding to 3 days' journey, as written in the book of Jonah. Its length was 150 stadia, its width 90 stadia, and it had 1,500 towers, each of remarkable height. The walls were thick enough for chariots to be driven upon them. Chapter 3. Nimrod and Abraham. Two worlds. The greatness of Nimrod, the first king of Babylon, and the wonders he performed, caused the peoples to revere him as a lord. He was the first mighty warrior, the first to show the power of organized armies. Thus he received the honors of a god among the nations. But the divine scripture places Abraham close to the time of Nimrod, so that we may understand the contrast between them, one admired by men, the other chosen by God. These two men were like the first citizens of two extraordinary cities. Chapter 4. Two loves and the moral foundation. Two loves govern human history. The love of self, which leads to the contempt of God, and the love of God, which leads to the contempt of self. This distinction is made before returning again to Ninus, whom most ancient writers agree was the true founder of the Assyrian monarchy. He inherited many of the exploits of Nimrod. To enlarge his possessions further, he assembled a powerful army. With the help of the Arabs, he rose greatly in strength. In the course of 100 years, he conquered lands from Egypt to India and to Bactria, which few had ever subdued. He wished to give his empire a name worthy of its greatness. Chapter 5. Nineveh in detail. He built Nineveh, whose measurements were extraordinary: 150 stadia in length, 90 stadia in width, and 480 stadia in circuit, with walls so broad that chariots could be driven upon them. It had 1,500 towers. Diodorus affirms these measures. Thus Nineveh became the greatest city of its time. Chapter 6. The Great Army and the Campaign against Bactria. After finishing this great work, Ninus marched against Bactria. According to Ctesias, his army consisted of 700,000 infantry, 200,000 cavalry, nearly 15,000 war chariots. Diodorus says this is not incredible, since Darius, Xerxes, and others commanded similar numbers. Even the city of Iapelia could muster nearly 700,000 men through alliances. Ninus besieged the citadel of Bactria, the strongest region of that land, wishing to display the full force of his power. Chapter 7. The Arrival and Genius of Semiramis. At this point appears Semiramis, a woman of extraordinary greatness of soul, who entirely surpassed the weakness of her nature. She lived in the region of Akkad in Syria. The chronicler rejects the mythical tales about her birth as invented stories. Semiramis gave Ninus the means to capture the citadel of Bactria and subdue the country, which contained countless treasures. Her husband, driven by jealousy, attempted to betray her strategy, but was punished. Semiramis returned to Nineveh and won the favor of Ninus. Soon her influence grew. Some writers give false versions of how she rose to the throne, but the true account is as follows. She gained the confidence of the great nobles of the realm through services and alliances. She asked Ninus to entrust her with supreme authority for 3 days. He consented. A decree was issued ordering all provinces to obey her. This decree proved fatal for Ninus, who soon died or remained imprisoned until his death. Semiramis buried him with great honor and built a magnificent tomb that survived long after Nineveh was destroyed. Now she resolved to exalt her own name. Chapter 8. Semiramis and the Rebuilding of Babylon. Semiramis undertook the construction of Babylon, gathering 2 million workers from all parts of her empire. Her works made the land glorious. But one must not be surprised if the foundations of cities are attributed to various kings, either because they built them first, or because they adorned and enlarged them. The most remarkable works that made Babylon famous were the walls of the city, the river embankments, the bridge, the lake, the earthworks and canals of the river, the gardens, and the temple of Bel. All these works were of such greatness that they are understood only with difficulty.
3 figures shaped the dawn of human power. Nimrod, the hunter who became a king. Ninus, the conqueror who built cities that scraped the heavens, Semiramis. The queen whose ambition forged wonders that defied the ages. Their footsteps carved the first borders. Their wars birthed the earliest nations. And their names echo beneath the ruins of Nineveh and Babylon even today. The chronicles we explored are not merely stories. They are the blueprint of empire, the foundation of civilization, and the shadow that lingers behind every throne built since. In the next chapters, we will follow the rise and fall of these ancient worlds, uncover their secrets, and step even deeper into the forgotten pages of human history, another truth revealed, another secret uncovered by the Black Folder.